So last quarter, we anticipated that accelerated vaccine distribution would spur reopenings, increased economic activity, higher inflation, and strong corporate earnings. And indeed, that's what has come to pass. We have seen the reopenings. Obviously, economic growth has rebounded strongly. The S&P 500 appreciated to right around 8.5%. Of course, we saw sharply higher inflation, and that's something that certainly caused some consternation among various market observers and commentators. But I think we're pretty much in the camp that this is a transitory period, and that once we start getting past the initial demand surge, which has undoubtedly stressed supply chains, we'll start to see that come back down again. We also saw a solid performance from the Amana Growth Fund. Due to the value versus growth rotation that we experienced in the first quarter, the fund did lag the broader indexes reflected by the S&P 500, although it wasn't that far away from NASDAQ. But in the second quarter, it managed to outperform both of them, which is really, I think, a pretty respectable performance. I mean, not only for the fund, but for markets as a whole. To be in the teens return through the first half of the year, that's obviously setting up the possibility of a very solid 2021.
The second quarter saw the world solidify on the haves and the have-nots. What you found was the developed world with the vaccine rollouts, and actually the supply of vaccines was plentiful. Whereas in the developing world, you're finding rising cases, mainly due to the fact that the vaccines have not had a successful rollout at all. That, besides the social ramification of it from a market perspective, has two things to watch for. The first one is supply chain, but the other thing to watch for is a slowdown in global growth, because you have a significant portion of the world that can no longer spend money because they're too sick to be able to do anything else. In the developing world fund, it became a story of mergers and acquisitions. 3 of our top 10 contributors were companies that are either have announced that they're being acquired or have already done it, and they're just slowly going through the progress of it. Although we love to see acquisitions because the share price goes up quite a bit in a short period of time, the flip side of that is we have to look for other opportunities, not only sometimes in the same sector, but also that can deliver the same type of good management, good performance in the long term that you've learned to see in the developing world fund.
The first half of 2021 has been demonstrating an extraordinarily strong year among the Gulf Cooperation Council, or the GCC region. As measured by notional amount, for the first half of this year, we have seen over $29.5 billion in new sukuk coming to the market, reflecting a 75% year-over-year increase when compared to the prior 6-month year period. The outlook for the upcoming year in the sukuk market is extremely positive and robust. We continuously have observed upwards of 3 to 4 new issues coming to the market every week. Unlike last year, what was predominantly sovereign government and government agencies, in part trying to plug deficit spending, this year it's mostly identified by corporate issuers, and it represents a different tone and more bullish outlook that's returning to the market.
Performance data quoted herein represents past performance and is no guarantee of future results. Investment return and principal value of an investment will fluctuate so that an investor's shares, when redeemed, may be worth more or less than their original cost. Current performance may be significantly higher or lower than data quoted herein. Performance current to the most recent month end can be obtained by visiting amanafunds.com or by calling toll-free 1-800-728-8762. Please consider an investment's objectives, risks, charges, and expenses carefully before investing. To obtain this and other important information, which you should carefully consider before investing, about the Amana funds in a free prospectus or summary prospectus, please visit amanafunds.com or call 1-800-728-8762.